Mississippi State, the first time they've started 1-3 since 2020. So Florida improved to 2-2. They get UCF next. Mississippi State falling to 1-3. They get number 1 Texas. Welcome back inside our HQ studios. Jeremy St. Louis alongside Damien Harris, Chip Patterson, and Beanie Wells. Easy start to this conversation. How much did Florida need that win today?
Oh my God, I don't think anybody in the country needed a win more, in my honest opinion, because when you look at the position that Billy Napier is in and you look at how poorly Graham Mertz had been playing up to this point, they just needed it. They needed it for the same reason we're talking about with Clemson. Establish that who you are. The University of Florida, you have a certain pedigree that you have to play to. It hasn't been there all season, but today we saw it on all fronts. I will say, they almost tried to give Mississippi State this game.
A bunch of times.
They almost tried to let Mississippi State find a way to walk out with this game, but at the end of the day, Graham Mertz played well. He was able to throw the ball. He ran the ball effectively. He made the offense better today, and they were able to hold off Mississippi State late. They were able to make the plays in order to win, and at the end of the day, I'm going to say it for every team. What is the objective here? To go 1-0 every single week. Billy Napier wants to save his job. I don't think he can, but he wants to. Graham Mertz wants to save his job, and he can. How do you do any of those things? How do you make your season any better? How do you go up from here to go 1-0 every single week? And that's what Florida did.
But Chip, this is Mississippi State.
Does anyone know? Hey, does anyone know what Jimbo Fisher's last game as Texas A&M's head coach was?
Mississippi.
A 41-point win against Mississippi State, and they only beat them by 17. I mean, sometimes I just don't think I saw anything in this game that leads me to believe that the result itself is going to change where we're headed. I mean, it's all off the field. It's all about the politics of who's going to make the decision and who's going to make the hire and when's the right time to do it. Right now, Florida's going into an off week. Like, if you need to give an interim coach some time to be able to address the locker room, there's a chance that we are having this conversation all during the week about Billy Napier's future. Maybe he makes it through the off week, then you've got the UCF home game. You know, all these things are taken into consideration. But, you know, I was not very impressed with Florida in this game. I think that when you're sloppy, I think when your defense gives up all these yards, I think that there's a lot of places that you can point to that says that Florida, based on the talent and based on Mississippi State's talent, should have been more well-rounded here. So the result itself, I don't think changes the outlook for Billy Napier's job, but did they need it, to answer your earlier question?
Yes,
like,
right.
yes. Like, every single pass that Graham Mertz completed felt good. And when DJ Lagway got to get out there and have some success, that felt good. So amidst all this negativity, amidst all this speculation, I do think that they needed it, but it wasn't like I looked at this result, and especially the way the game played out with Mississippi State charging back. It still looked sloppy. It still looked mismanaged. We'll see what Florida wants to do.
It most certainly was a sloppy football game. Obviously, you know, we're all excited because we saw Graham Mertz look so much better, and he had obviously the time in the pocket that we weren't used to seeing him have back there. But when you look at it and you dissect the numbers, 983 yards was the total yards in this football game.
It's incredible.
480 yards in Mississippi State, a team that's quite frankly not very good on the offensive end. So to give up that many yards and to sit there and say, can it still save Billy Napier's job? I don't think so. Obviously, I think he probably gets through the end of the year. He makes it out of the bye week because obviously we all know what happens if you go up to week 4. Guys can still transfer out of there. You don't want to leave the cupboard bare with players transferring and firing them right away. I think that would allow that to happen. But this team has to be so much better. You can hang your hat on Graham Mertz in the offensive line.
Hang on. Beanie, you don't know how boosters are, right? I mean, come on. Apparently boosters are not very happy in Florida. I mean, look at this schedule. They've got Tennessee coming. Okay, they have to go to Tennessee. Then they've got Georgia on the schedule. You're telling me if they don't get blown out by 35 points in those games that Billy Napier is still going to be there?
Those same boosters probably are writing some of those NIL checks as well.
Come on now.
So if you're giving up money on two sides, potentially, obviously with the buyout of the contract and then the buyout of some of these guys that you done already paid to show up for whatever appearance that they've had. So you're giving up twofold, and I don't know if you really want to give up some of these great young players. Let's say DJ Lagway gets out of there.
Yeah.
How tough would that be if it saves themselves, obviously, a year of eligibility? How tough would that be for the program? Because he's one player that you can hang your hat on for the future of this program. And at quarterback. That's
Hey,
the most important
the
spot.
Sharks are circling.
Yeah, 100%.
And so I tell you that if DJ says, if he comes out and, you know, we're sitting here talking about it, he'll have a lot of media availability in the coming weeks. If he comes out and he tells the world, I want Billy Napier to be my head coach, that's the best thing for Billy Napier to keep his job for weeks moving forward.
Yeah, but what do you, I mean, obviously DJ's his guy. DJ today, I mean, 7 of 7 for 76 yards because he did get into the game today. He also was 3 rushes for 22 yards. So, I mean, was also involved in the rushing attack of the game. Are we seeing a shift here, Chip, potentially to a 2-quarterback type of system where Lagway comes in relief of Mertz, and it's kind of getting DJ more comfortable so that if Mertz does get into a game where he's struggling, Lagway's going to be the guy who could come in. Let me phrase
Jeremy,
this.
it's dizzying.
Let me phrase this a different way. What is more likely? Billy Napier to be fired by the end of the season or DJ Lagway to be the starting quarterback?
Billy Napier to be fired by the end of the season.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was dizzying today. The plan going in, it was reported, is for DJ to have the 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th offensive drives.
It was so weird.
Yeah, it's so like, okay, weird. So we've got, it's not even a 2-quarterback system, like a 2-3rd, 1/3 quarterback system. I mean, like, are we giving out like pie, you know, and everybody's getting
the opposing
slices. It's just, it's incredibly confusing, but, you know, Billy Napier, your 4-game point is so huge. You know, if DJ Lagway says, I want Billy Napier to be my head coach, that could be enough just to make sure that he's going to still continue to compete. But we'll see what happens moving forward. I did not love the approach that was taken, even if the results were good. A lot of offense, you know, both quarterbacks high completion percentage, just as a matter of personal taste. I think that's got to be confusing for both quarterbacks to deal with that.
Quarterbacks, their teammates, the supporting cast, it's confusing for everybody. Again, like I said earlier, I don't expect this job to have this game to have saved Billy Napier's job. For the composition of the team and for the sake of camaraderie and just feeling good about yourself, this is just a good win for Florida.
Yeah.
I say this as a guy who looked at this game plan, like you said, didn't really understand it. Looked at some of the decision making, looked at how Mississippi State almost walked out of there with a win. I didn't like any of that. But what I did like was just the fact that Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway came out, they showed leadership, they showed poise, they showed competitiveness. Like, I don't think that there's enough credit given to these guys who sit here and hear all of these things that are said about them. They know that the state of their program is in shambles. Again, we're sitting here talking about Billy Napier's job could be saved because of DJ Lagway. Like, there's so many external things, but at the end of the day, you have to just show up and be able to block out all the external noise, all the external factors, and show up and win a game whenever you play on Saturdays. So at the end of the day, I can just say for Florida, they walked out here with a win, so we can be happy for them today.
And one of the discussions I'm looking forward to hearing on the Cover 3 podcast, because you guys have talked about this, is the fact that there was a thought that maybe parts of this team have quit on Billy Napier, and today, whether or not that's true, we don't know. But today, at least parts of this team came together to put together a solid win, which is, as we can all agree, is something that they have needed. Florida getting the win today, 45-28 over Mississippi State. All right, we are going to head to another break, but let's look at Billy Napier's numbers here at Florida. And you look at his SEC record and his overall win-loss record. So 2023-5, they're trying to avoid a 4th straight losing season. And right now, sitting at 2-2, it's all in front of them. 1-1 in SEC play, but as mentioned, the seat maybe got a little bit of the temperature turned down today for Billy Napier. But from what the guys
depending on what DJ Lagway says, allegedly.
Doesn't sound like it, but Florida do get themselves a big win.